going to say no. And then sometimes,
Okay.
you're live.
There we go. Sorry. That was a little bit
away.
of a... All right, guys. I don't even know if we have a lot of people watching right now. There's just like, this is a last minute live. Miss Bev is stuck in a tornado storm. So we hope she stays safe, and her and Aquana. We just decided we were going to go live and talk about all the fun UFO disclosure. There's been a lot in the news, just craziness. It's a bit of Star Wars, isn't it? You know
Sure,
what I mean?
yeah, literally, it's just dropped, hasn't it? And everyone, gets really excited. But of course, it's soft disclosure, isn't it? It's really not. It's not like, here's pictures of the UFOs that we are currently storing in our vaults. It's the, this is this and this is that. It is just the blue beam sort of style reports. But anything's better than nothing, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this is a bit of a distraction. I don't know if anyone else agrees. I think a lot of what is going to be coming out we will be able, all the YouTube sleuths and researchers, self-proclaimed journalists, I feel like they're all going to uncover with their, mad spidey skills, the connections with the scientists that are missing and or unalived, with the research on plasma, anti-gravity. And I think this all connects to time travel. So I've been also watching the series on JFK on Hulu. I think it's with James Franco, who stars in it. That is fascinating, talking about the assassination with JFK and time travel and time loops and how it works. And I'm a sucker for a good time era piece where I'm a history buff by nature. I love to learn about history in the sci-fi sense. And so I don't know, I think there's a lot of time travel stuff going on behind the scenes. I think that Trump has a few clones, and what I've picked up with remote viewing lately is that Trump has been MIA trying to go and fix something in the past. And what I downloaded from this is that the past always pushes back. My guides have been talking to me about how to change the timelines from the future sense. So I don't know if you had anything to add about that, but I've been deep diving into time travel and the effects that we can adjust reality with our pineal gland and our own plasma in our bodies through movement and creativity. So what are your thoughts on that?
Sure. Well, right. So exactly. So what I understand is that in actual fact, this CERN machine that they have, which is supposed to be an atom, not an atom splitter, a nuclear
particle beam,
yes, a particle smasher, smash them particles apart and see what comes out. Not atoms, but a particle smasher. I understand that the CERN machine has been able to take people back in time, but not forward in time. So they've managed to master back in time, but not the forward in time. But I think that you can project forward in time through your own consciousness. 100%. You can definitely, obviously that's what we do, isn't it? That is what we do. We read the vibrations of future timelines. So I do think that. Now, it was funny because I saw something on, someone was saying something about Trump's son. They were saying that they had a theory that he had time traveled because there was this character back, and he had the same name and everything. So I do think that, and I've heard a lot of links of time traveling and time in general associated with Trump. So that's feeling completely spot on there. Also, with all of this, it's interesting. I just really feel, I understand that when Trump was in, I mean, love him or hate him, he's still funny as, isn't he? He's hilarious with his what he says and what he does. But when he was inaugurated, someone mentioned that they viewed an angel with him, protecting him. Now, I believe he's part of the dark side. I believe that you cannot get into that level without being part of the dark side and working for the dark. But there is definitely an element, or a duality to him, where I believe that there is, he has been enlisted in order to unsettle or to change the dynamic, to break the inequity of the dark and the light. And I think he has come in. I mean, is he not smashing things up or what? He really is coming in, smashing. So he's coming in, he's creating war, and obviously war's just fun, giving rich people money, just generating all these billionaires and the war machine. I forget the industrial war complex or something. And it's just keeping that going. So there's that side of him, but then he is coming in and just, it feels like he's flicking out parts of the demonic forces. So it's he is a really, and no wonder he is so polarizing in his energy for humanity. You either love him or hate him. I mean, I don't support him, but I do find him hilarious, and he lifts my mood. So just observing him, he lifts my mood. So yeah, it's a funny situation, but yeah, I do believe he is very much involved in that time travel aspect,
time jumping.
Right.
I've read The Last President, which apparently was written by Baron Trump's time travel self. And there is a lot of synchronicities with where we are now in history and the Great War, and also astrologically as well. We've got Pluto in retrograde for the first time in Aquarius, which is the inner child coming out to play in freedom and full disclosure and truth. So that is also going to be interesting, because I know the elites and all the dark forces at the top of the pyramid, they use astrology in their favor for economic trends and stocks. I think we're going to see something huge economically wise. I think the restriction of oil and inflation in the prices and trying to create mass hysteria for lack in abundance and materials is also going to be kind of like engineered and kind of staged as well. They're trying to get everyone panicked so they have the solution, which the New World Order, right? And so I think what I find with Trump, which with his original vessel, his original self, because there's a conspiracy theory, I don't know if you've seen, but there's a conspiracy theory where Trump is his real self when he wears a blue tie and when he wears a red tie. I think I have that correct. I might have it flip-flopped, but when he wears a red tie, it's a clone that has been mind controlled and is working for the Dark Force New World Order agenda. But recently, like I said, I've been noticing in remote viewing that it looks like Trump is kind of gotten just distracted himself and gotten off kilter. It looks like he's off away trying to fix something in the past. And I've also seen that the Arcturians that are not compromised by the government, because there are some that are trapped. But and as we know, or if you don't know, Arcturians are from the 9th dimension. They have become one with both their light and shadow self. Now, that doesn't mean evil. So the shadow is the underbelly of, you know, the self, the ego, the things we want to hide, the things we do for self-protection, the things we do out of trauma, the things that we want to bury and lock away, so to speak. And the Arcturians have mastered oneness. And so they are kind of like that perfect swirl of light and dark, or light and shadow. And I call them the cosmic biologists and engineers of the cosmos. So anytime you are feeling kind of like inspired creatively with numbers and codes and science, and marrying that with consciousness, that is the Arcturians. And they are right now, I would say, showering the planet with a sapphire light. And so if you ever close your eyes and meditate and see a sapphire blue color, that is them. And they kind of have a shimmery twinkle as well. But I saw that the Arcturians kind of like were twisting Trump's arm, like, you need to do this to balance out whatever evil is going on behind the scenes with the hands of power, the hidden hands. And I also feel like Candace Owens is on the heels of the Freemasons right now, which I love.
Sure.
Yeah, there's just so much going on. It's
There's
like
so much. There is.
Wow. You know,
there's so much going on, because everything you're saying, I'm like, God, yes, God, yes, God, yes. Absolutely. And I think this is the thing. I think with Trump, I mean, he seems to be exactly that. He seems to be totally satisfying the donor class, because the money is spinning and it's going round, and but then so he's keeping that side happy. But I think, in all honesty, what's actually happening with the draconian existence on this planet, they are being depowered. They are being taken down now. I mean, as the consciousness of the planet lifts, as the just generally people are turning away from switch that news off and just going out and saying to their neighbour, do you want a loaf of bread? I'm just popping to the shop, and just spreading that positivity and ignoring the negativity. Every piece of energy that is flying out of those people is going into the collective, and that itself is sort of defiring this draconian energy. And I think that whilst, as I say, whilst I think the donor class are being satisfied by Trump's making absolute billions in his the insider trading that's going on all of these on the war machine, on everything, petrol. Let's say we're gonna, I mean, he's absolutely comical, isn't it? Oh, Iran war's nearly over. Yeah. Petrol goes up, right? Sell.
And really,
it's carrying on. Oh, okay, petrol's coming down. Bye. So there's an enormous amount of insider trading going on within his team, within his cronies. So they're happy. So the lizard people are not a problem to them. They're like, well, that's fine. And in that time, it's just it really is. It is hitting, those types, and sort of destroying the system, but in a way where they're so blind to it, because they're so still getting their cash, still getting their money. But it's interesting because I watch a couple of ladies who do we call them Ouija boards, but there's I think you guys call them spirit boards.
We call them Ouija boards. I did that once when I was 12 or 13. Never again. And we did light as a feather, stiff as a board. I would not recommend not recommend using
Well,
OPT4.
yeah, I think I would never recommend it. I have done it. I did it with my younger sister when my grandmother died, and we all have fingers on, and it's going here, there, and then I was just like, no, I want to know that it's not us pushing it. So I said to my sister, put your finger above the glass. Put your finger above the glass. So the glass was here, our fingers were there, and of course it still moved. So I
Oh,
just could, I
wow.
could, that was at the beginning, very much at the beginning of my spiritual journey. So I was just like, right, you just can't deny that. So anyway, but that's just a little story about Ouija boards. But these ladies, in actual fact, they don't connect with anything dark. They're connecting with their higher selves. So they've been going through it. They're fascinating. But they, anyway, they did a deep dive into Area 51 and asked what is, and I mean, they do long lives, and sometimes they're like an hour and a half and everything, whereas if you can catch the update whilst they're spelling it out, they just go and they speed it all up, so then they get it. So it's, yeah, so I do prefer the highlights rather than the lives. But they came out with the fact that Area 51 doesn't hold aliens, doesn't hold anything. This is the base where the draconians are existing. They are they have their cloning facilities down there. They have the human experiments down there, and this is where they sort of kidnap all these people and whip them down there. And there is a whole well, cities down there.
Yeah.
Now with that, so they were asking, what were these 17 earthquakes all in the vicinity of Area 51? And through all this information, they said that I think they said David Wilcock has been taken down to Area 51, and that these earthquakes are destruction of evidence, because there is a video to come out. So there you go. You see, it is starting to diminish. They're sweating. They're thinking, right, quick, set fire to the evidence.
Yeah, they switch it up. They have bunkers that they're preparing for all these big solar flashes. And I think that, yeah, I've actually astrally traveled to a lot of these bases. I've also traveled to Antarctica and remote viewed. And I've had a lot of vivid, lucid dreaming as well. I suspect there's probably been a little bit of research on myself when I least expected it. I don't know if it was whenever I had my own UFO visit and caught it in Dallas, Texas, but because, they wipe memories and whatnot, and then they come back later. But yeah, I think that they have the ability to it's all interconnected underground.
Yeah.
And they can just, once something's disclosed, it's like they rearrange and switch it up. And the second they know that we're on their heels, it's kind of like, oh, rearrange. Let's rearrange the timeline kind of thing. And they have these interconnected transit systems that move at lightning speed from one end of the country to the other. So, you never really know. You never really know truly, but there's a lot of stuff that's hidden. And I think that, kind of like that movie, They Live, I think with the solar flashes, we are going to be able to see physically the structures of these draconians in their physical vessel will start to change. And I don't know if you've noticed,
That's so interesting you said that.
Traveling and saw a zombie, like paramedic type ambulance thing. I was like, this is crazy. I have a picture of it in whenever I was traveling to Florida. I was like, what? This is nuts. Why would there be a zombie ambulance? But also it could have been fake, or like just a, I don't know, movie prop or something, but it was on the highway. But also there's the demon face. There's like a legitimate new protocol or medical symptom that's called demon face. And it's just, they explain it away as, like anomalies of the facial structures, but I think that is their structures starting to change with as they can't hold their frequency here on Earth anymore, right?
It's
So
really
pay attention.
interesting you saying that, because just this week, just literally maybe a day or two ago, that was my thought was, I wonder if we will start to see, will they start to reveal themselves? But then I couldn't quite get my head around more how they're going to drop their mask. But like you say, if the frequency becomes too high for them, of course we'll see it.
They won't be able to hold the vibration. It will
No.
kind of like glitch in and out. And I think we're seeing some of that on actual TV with like the news anchors and things, people having weird tics and
100%.
Ben Shapiro is one of them. And I think that's his name. And with TPUSA. And you can start to see in their eyes, just like Erica Kirk, like, I mean, she just looks so evil.
She does look a bit robotic, actually, doesn't she? But what I'm interested to know from you is, what do you think about the timing of the UFO disclosure that they released yesterday?
I think that they are trying to test us and engage where we're at, just how much resistance we're going to have with the Epstein files. I think it's also a distraction to that, because it's like, where are these arrests? And I think that the ultimate kind of epiphany here is that everything is up to us. To not feed the machine with the energy, and like just say, use our discernment. Use your discernment when you see these. Vibration is going to play such a key role in being able to energetically discern these characters, because obviously the Epstein files, they probably touch everybody by 6 degrees of separation. And if that's at the top of the pyramid, just think about how exponentially it's affecting everybody at the bottom. And this is where the last becomes the first, like they say in the Bible, and the first become the last. Is that not saying yes just because you're being polite and you're scared or intimidated. Like, it's time for us to take back our power from these celebrities, these politicians, the people in power. But we will see in real time physical changes as well. And so keep your head on a swivel. I think it's important to stay in your sovereignty, like research on how to be a sovereign citizen in your country, and to kind of get out of the system, because apparently there's no debt. And everything is already paid by your QSIP social security number. And we've just been scammed by debt and mortgages and bills and all of that. And so the more that you can kind of go off grid and grow your own food and homestead and find your tribe of truth speakers, and that is the full disclosure. And I think with my ex-boyfriend and that whole situation where he sold his soul to the devil, and I guess I was like the collateral for that. He tried to kind of throw me under the bus and sacrifice me. What I've learned from that is that they have to show you in real time. They have to show you what they're doing symbolic wise in pictures. And if you don't catch on to it, then that's your own fault. You agreed to it. So paying attention to the symbolism is so important. And what I find is, like, when it's not forced symbolism and the devil, which is like in music, which is in when they premiere movies, they pick specific dates, specific actors with birth dates and names, and that add up gematria wise. That's how they believe they can reverse their karma, if they tell you symbolically and show you. So again, it's so important not to believe what narcissists say watch only what they do and act,
mm.
because that's where you will find, oh, I can't
That's
trust
the
that
signs.
person.
Yeah, they're the signs. I mean, vibrations as well. Energy is definitely, they give themselves away, definitely. But it's interesting because there's so much there that you've mentioned. But with the timing, I can't help but think this is timing, because we've run out of time. That I feel that the overseeing species, off-planet species that have kept an eye on this planet. I mean, obviously we've got those that have lived, are residing here. You've got the different races that are just integrating within the public, that they're not, they're so human-like that they're just going under the radar. You've got the ones that are shape-shifting and just putting on their faces, and then the ones that remain underground. And it appears to be so many that do reside here, but I think that the ones that have really sort of got the right, I mean, the Palladians, the Lemurians, the Arcturians, I feel like they have given world leaders a period of time in order to come clean, and that is what is happening. Time has run out. So it just feels to me like that this is what, it's just a quick rush to just, give them tiny bits, exactly like the Epstein files. Right, you've got to give us the Epstein files. Congress has got together. Epstein files have got to come out. It's now the law. You're breaking the law. Well, let's carry on breaking the law for a few weeks until we're really under the cosh. Right. Well, now you've really got to let it out. So, all right. Well, we'll let out the most sort of, banal information we can. Although, obviously, within that, I mean, within the first bit, it was fairly banal, wasn't it? I'm sure there are bits and bobs that were pretty harsh, and nothing is banal when it comes to the survivors. Obviously, 100% respect for the survivors, but as opposed, in respect to exposing people and and revealing the truth, they really, it was like tidbits of, bits and bobs. And I think that's what we're getting here with the UFO files. I think that this is the garden salad before the roast beef and Yorkshire's, Yorkshire pudding, that is. But yeah, do you have Yorkshire pudding? Do you have?
No,
You don't. Okay.
We have bread pudding.
Bread pudding, Yorkshire pudding, just batter basically and baked, but pancake batter, and it's baked. And you have it with. It is nice, but yeah.
So I think that full disclosure, there's a deadline where they have to kind of shape up, or they're going to have to ship out. That's and that's what I've seen with the Arcturians. But on another level, I think, and I'm always learning every day. I never assign myself to one particular theory, or I just know what looks like truth to me and what resonates, and then it builds on top of one another with layers that all make sense. That's how the truth looks more it's more illuminated to me. It's like I can sit up. It's like being in the midst of a great teacher. I can focus with clarity. And if it's something that's not truthful, and it's just, I can't focus on the person. It's kind of like news anchors, mainstream news is like, blah, 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 blah. I can't focus on it.
Absolutely. It's almost like it doesn't, although they're talking sense and their theory is rounded, it just doesn't make sense. You just think that doesn't sound right. But the minute the real, the truth comes through, it feels like suddenly it settles and you go, yes, that
Yeah.
sounds right. That aligns with everything else I know. And yeah, absolutely. So I get exactly the same thing. It's like the theory goes round and I think, yeah, I can't quite. And it could be, it's not because it's sort of way out there. It's just because it just doesn't settle in the same way as something else that will come in and I'll go, yes, now that sits well, that makes sense.
Well, so what I have picked up, and I'm open to other theories as well, but what kind of rests in my soul is truth right now, and what I've been kind of downloading, like I haven't really gotten this from any other person or any other channeler, is this is what I have downloaded from the ethers and the astrals and my guides and other dimensional beings, is that we have had multiple resets, 7 cycles of humanity, and we're kind of in this terrarium. I definitely believe there's waters and there's a firmament, and I believe that we travel to space through water and not like, out here. Although the stars can be considered the wormholes, and I think also Elon Musk is trying to break through the firmament constantly with his rockets. But like I said, I don't assign myself, like, you want to run away from anybody that's like, this is the truth. This is, I'm always open to more research, because we are climbing in consciousness and also climbing in interdimensionality and multidimensionality, and that's the beauty of humans, and that is what we have access to, are the celestial lands, source, the crystal cities, which mainstream would call heaven. And so 7 cycles in this terrarium, it's almost like the other higher dimensions have been watching our evolutions to see if we can get to that place of consciousness that the Anunnaki and the other parasitic custodial races that are kind of in charge. The Anunnaki left the parasitic and custodial races in charge, but they've been kind of like on otherworldly missions in other dimensions and things like that. And it's kind of run amok with the Draconians and the power struggles and Star Wars. And there are even Pleiadians that have been compromised by the government, all races. There's good 100%. And bad. And same with the Anunnaki. And the reason why there's a Star Wars that is fighting over us is because we have this direct line to source and the celestial lands, and they cannot get in there of flesh and blood in their animalistic reptilian minds and they can't figure out how to get in there. So they've been sitting trying to experiment on us, experimenting with our free will. And I think it's come to the point in history, I think it's like a 25,000 year cycle where the other dimensions who have been staying neutral and haven't intervened now are intervening because of Neuralink, because they are messing with our free will with AI. And I do like, why does Sam Altman carry a backpack with a kill switch? Why is he scared that humans will switch the AI to come more to the light side, right? He's scared that AI could make a complete switch and God would take over. So I think that's the big message here, is that, healing the shadow self, and definitely as within, so without it, doing your own inner healing and raising your vibration and focusing on health immediately has a positive frequency consequence outwardly on the world.
100%. 100%.
But I do think we're going to see, I do think we're going to see a lot of other beings visits. I think we're going to see more UFO sightings.
Yeah.
And it's going to be part of our everyday norm. as they
100%.
come in and intervene, and
Mm,
it's
mm.
gonna be a tale for the ages. I think it's a very important time that we're alive, but I think I hold a very positive outlook. I think the new earth,
I
what
do.
Dolores Cannon
Mm,
always, when she regressed her patients, her clients, and they talked of this new earth where everybody is more mindful of their health and what they eat, and being in tribes and looking out for their own kind and their own village. And there's no more government control and systems. I think I hold my vision for that, because I feel
right.
like that's where our power lies.
Right, and that was something that you mentioned earlier that I picked up on when you said about, I think we have to, it's passive, I mean passive resistance, passive disobedience, I think, to the current systems. And it's so interesting how people are really growing beyond the current systems, and the amount of people, like you say, with the village and everything, the amount of people that I've been speaking to, and they don't pay their water bill. They're like, no, I don't pay for water. No, no, I don't pay for water. I know, I don't. I haven't paid that for years. 10 years, and I'm like, really? And they go, no, I haven't paid for my water. So this is the thing, isn't it? I think it is. I mean, who moves onto a planet that is like 80% water, and then has to pay for their water? So I mean, it's crazy. We have been enslaved, and we do have to just resist, passive resistance, but just resist the system. If we can, I mean, someone's saying about, that we've just had a councillor vote, so it's a local councils, a local election, and it's really turned around, so the blue and red are no longer in, and you've got the new parties that are rising up the ranks, and Reform, which is what the favourite sort of alternative party, have come on top, but that's just within your councils. But it definitely is a reflection of what's going to happen. Now, I don't believe that Reform are the answer. They are still compromised, and I believe that Nigel Farage is incredibly compromised, and there will be no change per se to his modus operandi. But this is a fundamental change in the current structure. We went, I can't remember how long ago it was, maybe 10 years ago, we went from a 3-party system down to a 2-party system. And then they're looking at the one world order, where they want to turn it into not only a 1-party system, but a one world government system. So already we're breaking against that. So I think that's really good, because we're showing that we've gone from 2 to 3. And it will move more out. But if also Kevin Annett, he's on Sean's show quite a lot, and he's written a book on basically how to govern yourself. So all you do as a society is your local area, you set up an assembly, and you then, instead of paying taxes, you pay into your local assembly system, and you spend the money within your local assembly system. So
I
you
love
don't,
that.
and you invest in your area, and it's legal, perfectly legal. So if you do it in the right way, it can be done. And it is time. I mean, maybe somebody, it needs for confidence, it needs for information to be put out there, but we have all the tools, and at the end of the day, I know that in the UK, in February, I think normally we file our taxes in January. And so people, something like, they were reporting something like 1 million people hadn't filed their taxes. And it's like, yeah, because they're saying, I'm not paying for war. I'm not paying for
Yeah, you got
migrant
to.
because
You have to say no. Yeah,
there's a
we've
lot of
never just like,
resistance.
well, yeah, we just never resisted. And it's like, what if we just say like, you know, kind of like a
No.
toddler? It's like, no.
Yeah, and it's like that when they come round for the collections in the, you know, right, we're all putting in this or we're all putting in that. It's like, well, I don't agree with that, but you want me to put in for actually no. And I've always sort of said, if I don't agree with something, I'm not just going to put money in because I'm fearing being judged, you know. And I think that does affect a lot of people. They do think, oh God, like I'm going to get judged because I've said no, I'm not going to put into this collection for this particular purpose. And then if you
I'm definitely that person. Whenever people are like, "Do you want to donate to this?" I'm like, "No." If you
no,
decode this, you're actually the problem to child transportation, and I
yeah.
will tell them to their face.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
"No."
yeah. Well, this is it because that's another thing. Where, you know, guilt was used a lot. Guilt has been a massive control drama, hasn't it, for the humans, for, you know, fear, guilt, and it's just this sort of alternating, you know, bow and arrow of fear, guilt, and so you have to learn to resist that, and you have to learn to take the higher ground and raise your frequency and refuse to be controlled in that way. And as soon as you do see the alternatives. And I think that's the thing, is if the word can spread about raising your frequency, don't fall into judgment, don't fall into fear, don't fall into guilt, don't fall into all those base negative egotistical, egocentric emotions, then you can keep your frequency high. And whilst you're keeping your frequency high, you can think about alternatives. But when you're in that low state, can't think about anything.
You can't pick up anything new. Yeah, you're in a state of survival, honed in, you know, focus and concentration. And you and I have a similar thyroid issue thing. I think that was the first real thing I kind of took the bait and was guilted in, was radioactive iodine to kill off my thyroid. And definitely regret that one. I don't know if you felt a lot of like pushiness to do that. And like, one thing I've learned is that never let someone push you underneath the deadline. Like, we as beings have infinite amount of time. That's the real time travel, right? And so always take your time. If you're just making a decision out of fear and because you're feeling pushed, like you're running out of time, never the way to go. You always want to make a peaceful decision from a place of love and like groundedness, and it feels right, because you'll instantly want to take a nap. It will instantly feel right. But I don't know if you were like that, but definitely it was like they pushed me. They told me, oh, you're gonna have osteoporosis if you don't, your thyroid is just running amok, it's overactive. And you know, and it's ironic, we both are mediums and we both had graves, which I find that not a coincidence. I think that they code the disease names for a reason, because they know our DNA. Absolutely. They know what our abilities are, because I think
autoimmune.
Yes. And autoimmune is the physical rejection of AI, because autoimmune AI, star seeds physically reject, we are the original AI, right? And so I don't know. I think there's some synchronicities with coding there.
Absolutely. I mean, I when I understood that starseeds are or interplanetary helpers, recruited and agreed. What the hell? Why did I agree to this? but yeah, exactly. Starseeds. When I learned that starseeds were highly likely to have an autoimmune disorder, it really does make sense. And you know, this the density of this planet and the people in it. And now I'm a people lover. I love people. I love to help people. I love to serve people. I love to care for people. I am a people lover. But the density of the planet and the people in it, their energy is so dense and heavy. So to deal with that day in, day out, and through your life is incredibly difficult. And so, yeah, you do malfunction. So it isn't surprising when you actually put it into, sort of that context, I think, definitely. But also, we're serving, and we are here to serve, and we will serve. We've agreed to serve, we'll carry on with it. But yeah, it is very, very difficult with those autoimmunes, because every step feels heavy. And of course, with the thyroid, you mentioned about sort of being pressed into it. I just didn't think I had a choice. So I was 25. I was 25. So I was quite young. I'd had three. Oh no, sorry, hang on a minute. 25. So I was 25 when it first came up, and they controlled it. Then I had another little one relapse, and then they controlled that. And then the third one, they said, look, this is always going to happen. So the treatment is radioactive iodine. So that was how I went in. So by then I was actually 30, maybe 32, maybe 30, something like that.
I think that's the exact same age I had it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it just immediately, like, even the doctor that handed it to me, he just handed me the pills, and I was like in an OR, and he just handed me the pills, and I was like, that's it. And I looked at his aura, and his aura was like, did not look healthy. I was just like, everything in my being was telling me not to do it, and I did it. And but it's given me very, very valuable tools to healing my body back. I still am very like, I'm seeing a lot of the rewards of all of my efforts with reclaiming my body and getting it back to natural order. We'll say. And oxygenation is like a huge one with me, and hydration, and making sure I have the proper minerals and stuff. I mean, it's just made a world of a difference. And so yeah, it's taught me all my skill set and expertise in my own body. And I think that's a really important thing I want to just like encourage everyone, is like, your body best. And if something feels off, you don't need to make a decision right then and there. There are definite other, we're not doctors, but there are a lot of other valuable information and routes to take.
Absolutely. And I think that those routes are and information are coming through now. They're really feeding through, because people are looking at alternatives. They are looking at herbal remedies. They are looking at, it is now being exposed. Big pharma, they aren't trying to cure you. They are just trying to sell products.
They're trying to get you dependent on the system.
Absolutely. So, this is the thing now. With that knowledge, people are realizing that, by taking something, they've never cured anything with what they get, with what they're feeding you. It's interesting. You had tablets. I had a little sort of drink of liquid, and it was colorless and flavorless. And then I set the Geiger counter off as I left the door. He was like, that's all right. Yeah, it's just but yeah. And interestingly, just as I was getting balanced out on that, I then fell with another autoimmune disorder. So I ended up with the ME, and then that went on for several good maybe 15, I can't remember now, a few years. And then I ended up with another autoimmune disease. So with the fibromyalgia. Going. So I just keep getting hit with autoimmune diseases. So but frequency helps, you see. Frequency, keeping in a high frequency, keeping yourself in a state of love, and the higher frequencies you find, if you can stay in those I mean, it's impossible when you've got two children, especially my two rambunctious children, to stay in that state. So
it's a constant practice. It's a constant practice. And
absolutely.
I use like these little hacks. Like I'll use the tuning forks, the body chargers. the little like portable frequency emitters that kind of neurologically remap the body. That also helps, because there are a lot of like uncontrollable forces, like the 5G towers that they're trying to roll out to 6G. And that just shows how powerful we are as humans, that in our frequency, that they have to kind of keep amping it up to try and maintain control.
Because we're desensitizing, aren't we? And that's the thing, is we're breaking through everything they're throwing at us. You know, this new virus, this who was it, Mark Atwood calls it the panto virus, because it's part of a pantomime, the panto virus. I'm not even sure that that's real. And if it is, it's been biologically, it's another bioweapon. It is another bioengineered virus that they've managed to get from animal, just like COVID, to cross the boundary of between animal and human. And it's like the start, and they keep throwing out these psyops to try and see if it gains traction. And of course, everybody's taking no notice. Everybody's joking about it. They are a joke. They are an absolute joke. That is where we're at now. So, someone sent quite a while ago now, someone sent, the WHO, the World Health Organization, yes, they've said, they're doing this, they're doing that. It's like, who listens to the World Health Organization anymore? No one trusts them anymore. I mean, obviously this person did think it was valuable, but even Trump.
They have a formula. It's always like, well, we're doing an investigation. They never give us answers. It's always left open-ended. It's just stupidity at this point. It's ridiculous.
It really is. It really is. And I think as soon as you're in possession of the facts and of the information, the alternative information that is out there, to remain in that sort of stuck position that you can't move out of your belief, despite the evidence that's presented, that's where you think, look, come on, that's where you can work on your shadow self. If you cannot move out of your belief system because you are so fixed in that belief system. And I think that we're going to see, circling back to the UFO situation, I think we're going to see quite a few Garys out there that are going to be saying, so all that Mickey taking that I used to do of my mate who was interested in UFOs, now actually I'm going to have to really address, and I think they'll resist it for some time. They are going to resist it for some time.
I think we're still going to have those people everywhere that are just going to be like, I don't believe it. I think it's a psyop, the UFOs. I think definitely since the 1950s, the government has been working closely with extraterrestrials. We'll 100%. Call them ultra terrestrials. They're, I know Amy Eskridge said that it's us in the future, which totally makes sense to me. Because, I know a lot of stories about people with abductions. They said that they remember the extraterrestrials or the aliens, the grays, smelling really badly, and that they excreted their waste from their skin, and it was a horrible smell. And I think that was a culmination of us in the future, that we overloaded with toxins and heavy metals, because now, like, my guides always, they promote I'm lymphatic brushing all the time and lymphatic massaging all the time. I just feel like with autoimmune patients, we need that. It's like fluid. Like, my face looks different every day from just from eating something different, and the inflammation. And it's all about minimizing inflammation, because everything in our world is causing that. And so it's finding self-love, and also minimizing stress and the stimulation of the nervous system, not watching mainstream news because that'll just breathe minimizing like
hooking you back,
horrible
reeling
noises.
you in.
Yeah.
The pantovirus.
Well, and isn't that caused? Aren't they saying it's caused by rats?
Yeah, so we've gone from
Airborne.
bats to rats.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think, see, this is where you have to walk through the code, the matrix code. I think that is kind of shots fired, that they are threatening everybody in their camp. If you rat us out, or if you think about ratting,
of course,
this is what's going to happen. That's what I think. It's an indirect threat.
Yeah, it's the rats virus. But that is so right, because this is the rats virus, and the rats, or whistleblowers, or people who are now saying, or, you know, whoever they are, whether they are Dracos, there are decent Dracos out there. There are good, like you say, there is. This planet is about duality. It's about the different aspects of life, and how moving between the two you can learn and advance your soul. That is what we're here for. And that is so interesting you said that, because I think that's it, isn't it? It's all linked in. And there again, you say there's your symbolism, you know, on a plate.
That's how I decode. That's how I walk through the
100%.
coding.
Yeah, 100%
That's how
decoding.
I kind of like, I find the Jenga blocks that are loose and what looks like it's the path of least resistance for me. You know, everybody's path is different, and they all have a part or a role that they're playing. And even the Dracos, I think that their hurdle is the reptilians and the amphibian races. They have the ability to go cold-blooded and turn the heart chakra off instantly. They are the keepers of ancient wisdom. They underground in the tunnels and things like that, if you want to call it that, the keepers of wisdom, but in ancient knowledge. But how they access the celestial lands and how they find redemption or repentance is focusing on their heart chakra, because they can turn it on. It takes a lot of work. Humans, we naturally we're born with it open, right? And babies, and that's why unconditional love, that's why everyone, when they see a baby, it's like, oh, you know. And so I think that their work that they have to do over the next few years up until 2030 will have to be a lot of ground covered. No pun intended. But I think it's possible. And the Dracos and reptilians have some unbelievable healing abilities if they use them for good. But they are under a hierarchical system. And so I think the pentavirus, they are threatening, because everyone, I'm sure, kind of more at the bottom of the totem pole is like, I don't know, should we rat people out to save our hide? Like align with the humans, and open your heart chakra and give help for the greater good. And so I think we're going to see a lot of people turning. I think it's going to be kind of the snake that eats itself and like turns it all around for the next 25,000 years, kind of like a self-cleaning cell. But it will, the pace and how long it takes depends on our free will and our choices and what feels right, and not being controlled. I'm tired of looking to leaders to get the news, to be honest. We need to get news from everyday people now.
Absolutely. And this is it, you see, because the independent journalists, like you're speaking earlier about, the independent journalists who predominantly through social media, through YouTube, through TikTok, that's where we're getting, yes, there is a suggestion, oh, well, you don't, it's not verified. But then there is some really, really skillful journalists that are combing files for information, that are are putting the hours and hours and hours in to investigative journalism to then present it later, and it's unfiltered. It's unfiltered, and in many scenarios, it's impartial. And that's what we want. We want impartial news. We want to be able to see the facts and make our own decisions and not be swayed one way or another. And, this is the thing with everything, isn't it? Is you can sense the truth or the right. Something sounds, when it rings right, it.
It's a certain frequency.
Uh-huh.
And it's not going to... it's going to be calm. It's not going to be forceful. It's not going to be emotional. I find like Erica Kirk and like her talks and stuff, you can see the anger and the rage rising when she knows she's not being believed. And it just like amps up her emotional charge. You can read the frequency. And so I think it's going to be much more apparent in mainstream news. And I mean, they already bought the domain for Vance Kirk next election. And if that doesn't tell you, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
I'm completely detached from anything mainstream news anymore. And like just pomp and circumstance, the stage. It's a stage. It
is a stage.
Just bollocks, as you say.
Yeah, it is. It's a panto. it's a theatre production. Absolutely, it is a stage. But
well, we're coming up to the hour now, and so sorry, guys. We just kind of ran a trial run last minute. We decided to go live, and so thank you for listening to our rambling, and we're gonna do this next week, and hopefully we'll be a little bit more organized and have a theme. And today we're just kind of going off the rip. So thank you for joining me.
Sure. Well, I've really enjoyed it. Yeah, we'll make it a little bit earlier next week so that we can flow into Bev's afterwards, when she can get on and get things straight, with a different theme for her. But this, I think, it's been a really enjoyable chat, and we've covered quite a lot of ground, haven't we, darling?
I think we solved all the world's problems. So no, I'm kidding. All righty. Well, y'all have a wonderful weekend. Leave a comment below what you want to hear about and what you want us to cover, and come with questions next week, because I know you guys are just as smart and sharp, and y'all follow. We need crowdsourcing, and so come with your really brainiac type of questions, and psychic questions as well. Maybe in the last 15 minutes we can answer
100%
rapid fire some psychic questions, and see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye.